Hello, welcome to this session. We will start this session by trying to reduce the logs we were getting from the burning wave, the library which we were using to search the class path for certain classes. Okay, so they have this property files in which you can specify multiple properties which they have mentioned here. Okay, so let's create this file. What is the name? Burning wave dot static dot properties. So I'll come to resource burning wave dot static dot properties, and there are some properties which I have kept ready. These are the properties which we can use to reduce the logs. Okay, let's try to run this. And now if you see, all those logs are gone. You can read about this particular configuration in the documentation mentioned here. So on a higher level, this set the properties, so you can have multiple properties file, and using these values, a burning wave can decide which one to merge where. So one means the highest priorities. Then I said managed logger dot repository dot enable false. So I have disabled the logging, and also the banner. By default it print its own banner of burning wave, so that also I have hide using this particular property. Good. Okay, so now let's go back to implementing some of the feature from the Spring Boot. So far we are able to create instances of the classes, right? Now many times you don't directly mention a concrete class as a dependency for a class. You go via route of interface. For example, here you have this booking repository, right? Booking repository is just should be a contract only. Now that can be implemented either using a Mongo, Postgres, MySQL, any concrete type of database you can use to implement that particular repository. So what you will see is many times you will code against a interface, not a concrete class. So in service, if we go in booking service, instead of taking a concrete booking repository, where is it? It is. We should be working against a contract. So let's do that. Let's come here. Let's do a refactor and extract interface. Rename original class and use interface wherever possible. Okay. Okay. Before that, I'll do one thing. Shift F6. I'll call this as impulse and refactored. I didn't wanted this to be renamed. So let me just go back. I'll come back. Shift F6. IMPL. Rename variable to this unselect. I don't want anyone to be rename. Okay. So it still, oh sorry, this is type only. No, name is as it is. My bad. Okay. Now this is fine. Now I'll just refactor this and I will extract an interface. Interface name will be booking repository. Okay. Rename original class and use interface wherever possible. So it will figure out where all the concrete class is using, and instead of using the concrete class, it will mention the interface. So going forward, if you want to provide some another implementation of interface, that we can do. So let's do this. Okay, so interface is created. Now refactor this, pull member up, say booking. Okay, refactor. So now if you go, you got an booking repository. So something messed up. Okay, I wanted interface name to be booking repository and class name to be IMPL. So let's come back, come back. Okay, let's again try refactor extract to interface. Interface name should be booking repository. Okay, and member to pull list is preview package to change. Yes. Okay. So now the class name is booking repository IMPL or impl, and interface is booking repository. Cool. Now if we go in booking service, it is using booking repository, which is interface, not the class. Now if we try to run this, let's see what happens. We got an error. Why do we got an error? Exception in method main cannot create instance of booking repository, which is right. Now it's an interface. You can't create an instance of interface. You can only create an instance of a class implementing that particular interface. So now we need to change our application context in such a way that if a parameter or our dependency is interface, then we need to figure out what are the classes which are implementing it, and we need to create instance of those. Okay. Okay, so let's go to our application context, and here if it is already there, we are returning if annotation is present, then we are doing this. Okay, otherwise what we want is if class is interface, if it is an interface, then class dot let's see what all we have. Get classes, super classes, local members, subclass, annotation, generic, super. There should be some way to get the classes which are implementing it. Okay, so what we can do is class scanner find all implementation of, or instead of all, let's deal with only one first class. Okay, and we don't want void, we want a class. Okay, okay, so what we want is somehow oh, we already have all the component, right? So we don't need to have this actually. Somehow I need all the classes which has already been scanned, because see, remember, we only want to create instance of classes which are annotated with @component, nothing else, right? So what if I pass all the classes already scanned from here, collection, class, and classes. Now I have all the classes I don't need this actually, can't be. Okay. Uh, I want to say something like this. Classes. Okay. So classes for let's see what all we have in class. There's something called is assignable from. If this class is assignable from this, which means this class implementing this particular thing, or maybe extending some other class or implementing some interface. So if that is the case, then that means uh, otherwise null. Assignable means a class implements class. Okay, so this is how we will found our implementation class, and once we have that, if implementation say implementation class, if this is null, then throw bean creation error, uh, no implementation found for class. So in case there is no class implementing that interface, we want to throw an error. Okay, and we can say string dot format no concrete implementation of present. Okay, is happening and not exception. It should be bean creation error. Okay, so if we don't found, we will throw we will throw an exception. If we found, then we will create instance of that particular class. So I'll do one thing. Now this is the logic to create a instance, right? So I'll pull this out in a method. Let's say create instance of this particular class, and uncheck warning is there. So let's put it here. Cool. Now we'll say create instance of class and classes, and it will give us the instance back. So let's say class instance. Now when we create, it will automatically put the actual implementation in the cache, but we also want to have a mapping of the interface name to that concrete class. So for that, then we'll say this dot cache dot put class. Sorry, it should be actually implementation class. And why it is crying now? Require t found capture this. Okay. Get name. Cool. And class instance and return the class instance. Okay. Okay. So there's some error. Let's go to error. What it is saying. Let's just cast it. No error now. Let's try to run this. And we got some error. Let's see what is the error. Cannot create instance of. Oh, okay. So it is able to find out that there's a booking repository, but to create it, it is saying to mark it as a component. So one thing is, first is the message seems to be a little bit odd because it should be booking repository impl. Okay. Okay. So what's happening is error is probably coming from here. If annotation is not present, then it is throwing. So interface, we don't say that it's a component. Component is the class. So need to update it and not class dot is interface. It is not interface and the component annotation is not mentioned. Now let's see. Okay, let's go and see this. Okay, no concrete implementation of booking repository present. So it is not able to find out any concrete implementation of booking repository. Let's go back where we were doing interface and we are saying find implementation of this and we passes all the classes. Let me make sure this is mentioned as component. Okay, this is mentioned as component. That means it should have been present in my all the class list. Okay. So let's go back. Let's try to debug what is happening here. So we check if it is an instance. If it is an instance, we were trying to find the implementation class. So let's go here and let's put a debug point. Okay, so we got the classes. Here we have 11 classes mentioned and booking service repository impl is there. Okay, so let's do one thing, and our class which we are getting is booking repository. Okay, so classes 10th array reference expected. Okay, maybe this is offer service. Okay, Station repository, booking. Okay. Maybe my doubt is I have swapped it in wrong way. It should be class is assignable from a class. Let's quickly see this. If it does not work, we'll further debug this. Oh, it worked. But that was the problem. So class is assignable from a class. I can use a child class where a parent class is expected, not the other way around. So it quickly fixed this. And now we can use interface in our uh, classes, and this should figure out the concrete implementation of it. Let's put this in separate line. Okay. Now let's see what happen if I have more than one implementation. Let's say Mongo booking repo. Now if we run, it will pass because there are two classes, but only one of them is annotated with at the component, so it is working fine. But what happen if I mark this also a component? Okay, so and we can mention this as uh, post grace booking repository saving booking. Now what is happening is it is taking whatever is the first class it is finding, and some that means it can randomly effectively it can randomly pick any one of them. There's no guarantee based on how the class path scanning is done. Whatever is the first class implementing it, it is picking that particular class, which might not be a good thing to do. So that's why um, there are certain annotation within your Spring Boot. So one of such annotation is called primary. Let me take this. So what does it means is if you have multiple classes which are coming from a common parent, which in this case was booking repository, and you want somewhere you want all Mongo to be, let's say, always used as a default. Wherever you are saying booking repository default, you want to use Mongo repository. And somewhere else in your program, if you want to use concretely this particular implementation, let's say Postgres implementation, there instead of saying booking repository, you might want to say booking repository impl, or let's say Postgres booking repository. So now you have two default you want. If anyone asking for Mongo, asking for booking repository, you want them to provide Mongo booking repository. Otherwise, if someone is asking specifically of one of these two, you want that to be provided. So then you can manage this by specifying @primary. Okay, let's run this. Okay. So let's run this. We are still getting Postgres booking repository. Now we want it to be a default one, which in this case I want this to be my default. So I mentioned primary, right? Now let's fix this. Let's go to application context, and we have interface bean creation, find implementation of this. Now here, what I would like to do is, instead of returning the first one, I would like to see if I have multiple instant classes implementing, then I would try to find out the primary one. So I'll say um, classes stream dot filter, and let's say a class, and then class dot is assignable from a class, so it will filter all those classes. Then we can say collect collector dot to list. Let's take this uh, implementation classes. Now if implementation classes dot length or dot size is less than equal to is less than 2, then we want to say return implementation classes get 0. Let's ask this. Otherwise, what we want is implementation class dot stream dot filter class dot is annotation present primary dot class. So I'll filter out all the classes where uh, where we have primary annotated. So we collect it using collector dot list, and I'll say primary classes. Now we want only one primary class. If we have two primary class, we can't decide which one to create. So throw bean creation error more than one primary implementation present. And whose implementation? This class implementation. What are the primary implementation? These are the primary implementation. If primary class dot size is 0, that means there is no primary no primary implementation found for this particular class. Okay, and this particular thing also I'll take in. So we don't found any implementation. If implementation is just one, we will return it. If there are more than one implement, what it is saying, So this is empty. Okay. If there is one implementation, we will return that. If there are multiple one, we will try to figure out primary class. If there are more than one primary class, we will throw error. If there is no primary class, then also we will throw error. Otherwise, we will return primary class. Cool. What it is saying? Lambda. Okay. Okay. More than one primary implementation. It will return bean creation. Cool. Let's construct the message. So what we want to say is string dot format a neighbor to create instance of a class, multiple con concrete implementation found, and those we want to mention here. So class, primary class dot stream dot map class, we will get c dot get name, replace lambda with method. Okay, and then okay, let me take this out. String. Okay. Collectors dot joining. What does joining do? Return a collector that concatenate the input is element to string in this. Okay. Prefix, suffix, and delimiters. Okay. So delimiters, comma, implementation classes names. Okay. And then take this as message getting to big. Cool. This is fine. What does it say? Missing throw. Okay. Okay. So here we want to say that we didn't got any primary implementations. But here we would like to say what our implementation we got. So implementation classes also I'll mention. Okay. So probably something like this I would have to do. Instead of primary classes, implementation classes, we'll get the name, we will concatenate them. Unable to create instance of this. Multiple, and here I'll say multiple primary implementations found. Multiple concrete implementation found, but no primary instance mention one of them as primary using @primary. Cool. Let's go back. Seems fine. Let's try to run this. And it is running. Now we get the Postgres booking service. Why? Ideally, we should have got the Mongo one. Let's see. This is mentioned as primary. Okay. And Postgres. This is mentioned as a component. Okay, time to debug. I want to go to app context. Create instance. Before creating instance, we'll come here. If it is interface, then we want to debug it. Okay, we came inside. This class is booking repository, and classes are these where we have Mongo booking repository and Postgres booking repository. Let's go inside this. Uh, let's come here. Let's move ahead. And we got the two implementation Mongo booking repository and Postgres booking repository. So if it is empty, throw this. No, it's not empty. If implementation class size is 1, do this. Okay, it's not that also. So we'll come here and we'll try to find the primary classes. Primary class, we got Mongo booking repository. Okay. If size is more than 1, do this. If size is this, otherwise primary classes dot get 0. Okay, that means it should have given us Mongo one. Let's come here before this. Come here and implementation class is Mongo booking repository. It's just fine. Then why are we getting the Postgres message? Postgres booking repository, Mongo booking repository. So we should have seen booking via Mongo, right? Let's go back. Class instance is Mongo booking repository. Okay. That seems fine. Then why are we getting this? Okay. Or maybe somewhere I am. Okay. I think IRCTC. This is because of this. I am taking a concrete implementation. That's why it was saying that. So instead of this, let get application context get bean booking service dot class. We got the booking service and we'll do the book. We got some error. Let's see what is the error. Station does not exist except. Oh. So that means deep down there are some validation in the stations. So stations repository Mumbai to Delhi. RTN service is not yet available for Mars. Okay, so it is working fine, and we can see booking via Mongo. Okay, again run this booking via Mongo. Now, instead of Mongo, if I put that in Postgres and run this Postgres booking repository. Cool. Now, if I don't keep it here also, we will get error. Unable to create instance of booking repository, multiple concrete implementation found, Mongo booking repository and your Postgres booking repository, but no primary instance. Mention one of them as primary using @primary. Okay. Working fine. Now if we go to Mongo and add primary here, now we will get error because now we have multiple primary being. Cool. Now if we don't keep this, we will get this. Now what I will do is in booking service, if instead of booking repository, I would have asked Mongo booking repository, then it will have given me Mongo booking, right? So if we are asking for implementation, it will find out if there is any implementation, it will give that. If there are multiple implementation, then it want one of those to be marked as primary. Cool. I think this is enough for this session. We'll continue in next.